Andrew Jones, then, you've undertaken quite a lot of work already around water quality, particularly on the River Nidd. And that's not by any means being in isolation of just of Harrogate. It's work that you've taken down to Westminster to bring up a bigger debate. What was the background of that? What kind of, if you turn the clock back, what was the reason why you decided to pick this up?
Right. Well, we're seeing right across the country huge initiatives to improve our environment, whether it's air quality, the amount we're doing on recycling, or cutting carbon emissions to protect the climate for the future. The work on improving water quality should be seen as a part of that bigger programme. But I want our area to be absolutely at the front of this campaign, and I've met with local groups and angling groups, particularly from the River Nidd catchment area. We were talking about the water quality and how we could improve it, and the suggestion came up that we might apply for bathing water quality status, and this was a great idea, so I've been running with it and leading this campaign to get the River Nidd at the Lido in Knaresborough designated with bathing water quality status. Not just for that one particular point, that's where the point will be measured, it's all the changes it brings upstream. So if we get this status, which I'm really hopeful that we will, it will make the Environment Agency have to bring in a plan, an improvement plan. And that's the objective here, an improvement plan to improve our water quality right across the Nidd catchment.
And the kind of bathing water status is something that I think many are familiar with when they go to the coast, aren't they? I suppose it's more of a thing that we see there.
Very much so.
I think,
sorry.
Was it the river, the wharf, was that the very first one in the UK that got the bathing water status?
Yep, spot on right. This has been a recognised part of water quality around our coast, and quite right too. Most people go to the seaside for their holidays, and we've seen a lot of work done to improve water quality around the entire UK coastline. And there are 300 or so areas of bathing water status. But only, I think, about 16 are for inland waters, and for the inland waters, you then come down to just a fraction of those for rivers. So yes, we had a debate. I got a debate in Westminster and highlighted that very point to the Minister. So this isn't a question of replacing or cutting back on water quality statuses around the coastline. This is about how we can now catch up for inland waters. And yes, it was the River Wharf in Knaresborough, in Ilkley, which started. And there's another one, which is the River Windrush in Oxfordshire. And I want us, our area, specifically the Nidd at Knaresborough, to be next in line. And the campaign has really caught fire. It's captured people's imaginations. I think people actually really do want to see improvement.
And the factors then that affect the water quality, everyone talks about sewerage, don't they, and overflows. But presumably there's lots of other things that also influence, and some of them possibly natural factors as well.
Yes, that's right. It isn't as simple as just one single cause and effect. This is a much more complicated piece of work. There's no doubt at all the combined sewer overflows are a real factor here, and we must make some headway. We'll come on to that perhaps in a bit more detail, but they're not the only thing that is an issue. Agricultural practices are in fact a bigger issue, and getting agricultural practices changed across an entire catchment is a complicated piece of work. But overall, we're now able to quantify where we are with the combined sewer overflows, because in 2016 only 6% of them were monitored, how often they will be used. Now it's over 90%, and by the end of the year it should be 100%. In our area, Yorkshire Water are already at 97%, so we can naturally start to see how the overflows are being used, how long they're in play for, and quite frankly, it's much easier to make an argument when you can measure and see and quantify what's going on. So that's a really big change. We can see which overflows need to be tackled first.
And does that give an indication of kind of the volume
yes.
coming out, or so the volume of sewage material, I suppose, coming out of?
It's not really sewage material exclusively, because
okay.
what these are combined sewer overflows, and they are brought into use. They're effectively the like a pressure release valve in the sewer system, and they've been there practically since the Victorian era. So we're dealing with a very long-standing problem, and people are perhaps not aware just how long they've been there. So this is about tackling a long-standing issue. But they come into play when the system becomes overloaded. And it becomes overloaded because you've got wastewater and sewerage, basically meaning the system needs to flow. If it didn't flow down the system, it would back up, and it would back up into people's homes, which would obviously be worse. So they have a role to play, but we need now to eliminate them. That's the bottom line. This isn't a question of whether or not we tackle water quality. This is about how we tackle water quality. The change is necessary. The public want it. Everybody wants it. So when they come into use, it's at periods of very high rainfall. So what comes out will be a mixture of untreated sewer, wastewater, and rainfall. And untreated sewage in our system is not what anybody wants. Simple as that. So they've been there a while. They are now measured, and we have a plan to get rid of them.
And is that a plan then with, presumably in this area, Yorkshire Water? And
yes.
Does the Environment Agency also monitor them, or is it Yorkshire Water goes to the Environment Agency?
Well, quite frankly, this is a big team effort, and that's one of the things that has been so positive about this campaign. I've met with the Environment Agency, and they're supportive of this campaign. I've met with the Chief Executive of Yorkshire Water. She is supportive. Her business will be supportive of this campaign. I've met with the angling groups. They're supportive. Met with wild swimmers. They're supportive. Met with a business that owns the riverbank at the Lido in Knaresborough. They're supportive. So that is a really important point you've got here. This is a team effort where we will be having a partnership to make progress. No partnership, no progress.
So just kind of looking forward from where we are now then, what can we expect to sort of see over the coming months or years even then on this one?
Right. Well, there are multiple phases to this campaign. The first phase is about building awareness, if you like, the publicity phase. The second phase, and I've got some dates here, which I thought you might indeed ask me that very question. From the 15th of May to the 30th of September, we're going to be in the surveying and the consultation period, effectively phase 2 to this campaign. And then from the 15th of September to the 30th of October, we will be finalising and then submitting our application to have bathing water status for the River Nidd at the Lido in Knaresborough. So it's a very specific point. It is one measured point. And what we're going to see is from the 15th of May onwards, hopefully a programme of volunteers attending the Lido for 1 hour in the morning and 1 hour in the afternoon every weekend, including bank holidays, and for busy periods during the course of the week, and just simply measuring the usage of that area, the public demand. And we'll also be having a consultation at the Knaresborough bed race. So this is the evidence period, and I'm going to be putting out a call looking for volunteers to come and help with this over the course of the months ahead. I've had conversations with different groups. They have been supportive. I'm hopeful that we'll have a really big community effort.
So, and then from the evidence phase, are you clear where it will go from
yes.
there? Is that more the case that will get put forward then for it to be classified?
That is exactly right, yes. And then we will be submitting our application. I have to say, I've been very encouraged by how everybody has been supportive. The Environment Agency, Yorkshire Water, community groups, everybody has been supportive thus far. That doesn't mean to say we'll get there, but it's good. And when we have achieved this, if we have achieved this, it's then the action plan to drive improvement across the catchment. And that will be the Environment Agency's work.